Welcome back to Connect and Collaborate. I'm Alex Hopkins, taking over for Tammy Schaefer, your regular on-air producer. And right now we have Chad Coleman, co-founder and CEO of Ascend Agency. And we also have Gayle Dendinger with us. He is the CEO of CAP Logistics, the CAP family of companies, if you will. He's got several titles under his belt, actually. So we're talking branding, marketing branding. We're talking Ascend Zen Creative Marketing.
I like that name. We should have gone with that. I wish I had Gayle around.
Well,
the
that was my marketing genius.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
But I know that you and I have talked in the past about Zen.
Yeah.
And we talked about Jeff Lebowski.
Love
and
Lebowski,
there's a book that you and I shared, which is The Dude and the Zen Master.
Great book. Thank you for that. Again, it was
So
wonderful.
was there anything in that more than just entertaining, do you think?
Wow. Well, I guess I loved The Big Lebowski, the movie, for so long, and watched it so many times. I felt kind of silly being a person that's also, in the past, and since I was really in college, been interested in Zen, that I had never made the correlation that really the movie is a great parallel for Zen. The character, The Big Lebowski, is... I think maybe, I don't know if the filmmakers intentionally did that, but they...
well, the
Coen
Coen brothers, fairly smart, fairly sharp.
Yeah. Would not put it past them, for sure.
Right.
But yeah, just the insights in there, just really getting to know both those guys and their relationship was really interesting. And thinking about, Jeff, I don't know why his name is escaping me, Jeff...
Bridges.
Bridges, yeah. Just really getting to see how he integrated, the Zen teachings into his craft of acting.
So did you recognize that when you watched the movie, that there was a little bit of Zen in there, or did they have to go write about it afterwards and point it out?
I have to admit, even though I love both things,
right?
I never put the two together,
so
which is really
subtle.
interesting. Yeah, it's kind of subtle, yeah. But it really makes sense. One of the things that really struck out to me is that the idea in Zen, the first pillar of Buddhism is the idea that suffering is real. Like, everyone suffers, right? And that's not an exact quote, but and I thought they did a really good job of using the dude in The Big Lebowski to point out that the fact that life kind of presents you almost on a daily basis, really, with a lot of interesting challenges to face, and acknowledging the fact that you're going to be met with these challenges. How do you react to them, right? What is your and sort of the Western philosophy is let's fight against this, let's try to do battle, and The Big Lebowski actually is a great example of taking that in, seeing what can I learn from this situation, how can I take this moment and learn something from it and grow as a person.
So when he was saying the dude abides, that's kind of like the dude rolls with the punches. Isn't that what that means?
It's kind of right, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly the big lesson I got from that, for sure.
And then as far as your work, we were talking a little bit before the show that it helps you be a little bit more patient.
Yeah,
and able to go suffer through or put in the hours or whatever it takes. So what other lessons have you learned?
Yeah, well, so for me, I think the big thing, the kind of correlation between the work that we do and sort of the Zen philosophy that is focus, is around the area of focus. Great brands have incredible focus around who their customers are, what kind of story they need to tell to those customers, what value they deliver to their customers. And so we help people one of the things that we do is help people recognize those elements about their brand and create a focused brand story that's going to help them find the ideal customers that they need to find.
So each one of us thinks we're experts in everything, and really very few people dig down into anything, whether it's software or maybe even law or anything like that. So you call yourself digital storytellers. And I think digital is one place where we all think we know what we're doing because we might have a Facebook account or we know how to search somebody in LinkedIn.
Right.
So what is the difference between you and your understanding of media and social media? And not to be disparaging to anybody, but 20 years of living this every day. Why do you think you might be the 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000 that really understands it? and you can pick your own number. It might be 523 or.
Right. Well, I think I actually think I was very fortunate. So, in the sense that what marketing and branding has really become about are the things that I studied early on. So I didn't go to marketing school, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because what I would have learned, in 1995 would not have been so applicable shortly after. That was sort of pre-internet, and so I got really fortunate that I feel like I studied filmmaking and storytelling. And so, I got out of school, did a couple of years of working on sets, doing some cinematography, stuff like that. And then I landed my first job at a digital agency and was just exposed to this whole new world of the internet and how powerful, started to understand, we were doing CD-ROMs, to date myself a little bit. So if anyone out there remembers what those are. But yeah, and then
I got the AOL one.
Oh boy, everybody got like 12 of those. They made great coasters, by the way.
They really did.
But seeing the web kind of come alive, before my very eyes, and having the opportunity to use it as a marketing platform for our clients back then, early on, and then watching that evolution as it's become more and more integrated into our lives, and now of course it's mobile and social media and all those things. So I feel really fortunate to have like the things I'm passionate about, storytelling and like digital strategy and things like that, have really sort of come, the world of marketing has kind of come to me, and it's been a great journey for sure.
Sorry I wasn't listening. Do you mind repeating all that? And please don't throw that coffee cup at my head.
Do you really want me to repeat it?
So how important is humor in marketing and building friendships?
Yeah, I think humor is incredibly important.
It's a great tool.
It is a great tool. Just think about like the Super Bowl, right? We just recently had the Super Bowl. The commercials that you probably remember. No comment. I was actually rooting for the Eagles this time, but
I think everyone was mostly against the Patriots.
yeah, it's kind of like that whole. It's it's the Empire versus the Rebels.
Exactly.
If you want a Star Wars reference there. Boy, I'm really nerdy. So what was the question again? I'm sorry. Humor.
They were sorry I wasn't
so
listening.
Right?
No. Let's get back.
Humor is incredibly important, because here's the thing about humor, and I think this speaks to a larger issue. Humor is authentic. You can't fake it. Either someone's going to laugh at something and find a particular piece of content funny, or they're not.
Now, what about the boss laugh? When your boss tells a terrible joke and you do the
right, yeah.
Well, you guys don't do that.
We don't
have to.
No, you're not the least bit
do that.
afraid of letting me know how you really feel, and that's hurtful.
Well, I feel like it's a good environment if you are able to have that communication.
It is.
Yeah, that makes for a good environment.
I'm still hypersensitive.
Well, the thing about
I apologize.
All right, I'm going to get between you two. Round one is over.
So what's Zen about that? Having hurt feelings, that's wrong, isn't it? I should be tougher than that.
I'm certainly no expert. I might have to consult. There's some great Zen centers here in Denver. We might have to consult. But
so who are some of the people? You don't have to mention the names of the company, but some campaigns that you've been on where you really help start a business or turn a business around, or just have them take off.
Is it okay to mention the brands?
Absolutely.
Right, cool. Yeah. Well, so we've had one of the things I love about owning an agency is that my thing is like I discovered early on at that first agency, like in 1998, when I first started in this business, that every brand, every business has something really unique about it, really special. And if we can understand what that is and kind of strip away all the nice to haves and stuff, and really get down to the core of what that thing about a business is that's really special, and create a story for that business around that idea, it's very powerful. One of my favorite stories right now is, or most recently, we worked with a company here locally, a nonprofit that does business lending. They're called Colorado Lending Source.
Okay.
A wonderful organization. They help. First of all, how many nonprofit lenders are there in the world? So not a lot, not enough certainly. And they really have a true commitment to helping entrepreneurs succeed and empowering them. And so we redid their brand messaging, their website, and they were just blown away by, because it had been 5 or 6 years since they had a new website, and they really didn't feel like they had any marketing materials that were telling their story effectively. And literally from a few weeks after the website launched, they suddenly saw a huge influx of contact form submissions. And even though it's a lending organization, so they had their contact form was like 10 fields, which we normally don't recommend.
Is that too many fields or
way
too few? Too many.
Yeah.
Way
Okay.
too many. Yeah, you kind of.
What's the ideal amount?
As few as possible.
Okay.
As few as you can get by. Yeah. You just want to keep barriers to entry low, right? You want your potential customers to kind of do the least amount of work they have to do to get to you. And it was just so wonderful. I mean, they actually were so excited about the whole project that they threw a birthday party for their website. So I'd never had that before. In 20 years. I've been in this
as it was
industry.
born, or a year from?
Like it was born. It was
Right.
like, hey, this is our new brand
That's a
story
cool
and
idea.
our new website. And they threw a whole party and had a cake, and we're all wearing the tagline we crafted for them on their T-shirts and stuff. And wow, I mean, such appreciation. It was really something special. So I love helping businesses do that. Really figure out how are they going to connect with their customers, how are they going to motivate them to get involved, and I just love that whole process.
So if you were doing that for us right now, we can use all kinds of help, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Can you interview me a little bit and see if you can get some
wow.
direction and help us out?
Sure. So you have so many entities that you work with. Which is there a particular one that you?
Well, there's
like
a
to focus
family
on?
of companies, primarily logistics,
Okay.
and
right.
that I think the line companies that we have. There's a domestic company called Cap Air Freight. There's an international one called Cap Worldwide. Then we have a small airline that is called Alliance Air Charter.
Oh, really? I didn't
So
realize
those
that.
are the ones that bring in revenue.
Mhm.
Then some other ones are support type companies, more staff type companies.
Sure.
But then we have relationship companies. So we've got the Colorado Business Roundtable. We work with many other people to see if we can't work together on public policy,
Mhm.
helping with academia and so on. We've got the radio show and the media.
Right.
And so
you've got a lot of tentacles sort of going out. I think one of the things that we find is that, working with many different brands of different sizes, I think the interesting thing is that there has to be something about the organization that transcends all the different sort of arms of it, right? Like some unifying values or beliefs that are the sort of the basis of that. Now, and so we spend a lot of time like working with people like yourself, leaders of companies, and trying to get down to what are those core values, because something really powerful happens when you can express those in a really clear way, so that everyone from the guy on the ship, or the plane.
Right.
To the Alex here, who gets to see you. And
even
work with you.
Alex?
Even me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But
Wow.
so someone who has access to you
Right.
and is sort of working close to you. When you do that, something very powerful happens. There's a it's almost hard to describe. It's sort of this feeling, this culture that's created in your company that everyone is rowing in the same direction, because while one person might be doing one task on an assembly line, if they have an understanding of how that fits into the bigger picture, it really inspires them to appreciate the thing that they're doing and how it fits into that. So we need to spend a lot more time together to dive too deeply
Right.
into your particular situation.
We might be beyond help.
Nobody's
I think we're
beyond
beyond
help.
help in the next 10 minutes. I should say that.
Maybe.
But I don't believe we're beyond help.
Yeah. I mean, like for instance, we do a brand workshop as part of our branding process. It's called the Maven Method. It's a full day. We'll spend a full day with the leadership of the company that we're working with, and really dive deep into those core elements of a brand.
And do you put stickies on the wall, or?
We have like it's pretty remarkable. We have like it must be like 25-foot whiteboard in our conference room.
Okay.
And we fill up every inch of that thing in that day and capture so much data.
Take turns?
Well, yeah, there's some of that, but mostly we try to keep it as easy as possible for our customers.
Right.
So we have, it's myself usually and our marketing strategist, Zoe, and so she's kind of capturing everything on the board as people say it. But it's very interactive, very fun, and it's designed to help, like, because when you own a business, right, it's your passion. It's the thing that Gayle, you could tell me probably 100 different things about cap logistics that are awesome and amazing and that are quite important attributes of the company. The thing is that, we live in a world where there's so much clutter. I mean, the average person sees about 3,000 messages, advertising messages a day. 3,000. That's
Wow.
billboards, Facebook, Twitter, all the television, all the different platforms. So we have to understand and figure out what is that one thing that we do as a company, or that you do as a company, that sets us apart. That it's not the whole story, but it's where that story begins, and it's because if we're hoping to get the attention of our ideal customers, you have seconds to do that now. It wasn't always that way. But now in this crazy, noisy
it's getting
digital
worse.
world, it's getting worse.
Somebody asked Einstein one time, what kind of weapons will they have in World War II? Excuse me, World War III.
Right.
He says, I can't tell you that, but I can tell you what they're going to have in World War IV. Sticks and stones.
Oh, right.
And I think you understand that you get to the point where it's so digital and infrastructure crashes and whatever. Thomas Friedman's kind of looking at the same thing. He's been looking at all the world is flat and all the technology, but he's starting to look at the importance of customer service and listening and just being a human being, and you start to separate yourself a little bit from all the computers if you can listen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think customer experience is the great frontier of business right now. We are sort of being trained from an early age now. I mean, I didn't really start using computers until I was like 20 or something, because they didn't really exist, or at least not small enough that they were like the size of this room before. But but now we have such convenient, intuitive, devices and user experiences like websites and applications.
Right.
And so people early on are used to having great user experiences, simplified experiences, right? And businesses that don't adapt to that are really going to struggle, because everything is sort of getting easier and easier, right? I mean, like they have one-touch buying on Amazon, That is
Which
very
is
dangerous.
a terrible idea
very
when
dangerous.
I've been drinking. That's, yes.
Right, yeah.
Can we talk about your drinking problem a little bit?
Yeah, let's focus on that.
The problem that related back to the dude, that's the
Right.
drinking game. Every time he says dude, you have to take a drink of beer.
Goodness.
You're hammered in the first half hour of the movie.
No one's ever who's played that game has ever saw the end of the movie, right?
I didn't see the end of that movie until about 4 years ago.
So is there some truth to this?
There
a
is
little
drinking
bit.
game.
There's definitely some truth to that.
Next episode, we are doing this.
So one of the interesting things about Alex, she's a flight attendant. Alex,
yeah.
do you have any great flight attendant stories that you're willing to share?
I mean, I have several, actually.
The ones that you can share.
The
Right.
ones that I can share. That's
You told us
the tough
one
part.
recently that I think is kind of funny.
No. That was funny?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well, that wasn't even my airline. I can't share that.
Sure.
But the Spirit Airlines, I don't know if you heard
And
about
not to
this
disparage
yesterday.
the
Sorry.
competition.
Right.
Right.
Correct. But this, it was all over yesterday. But there was a girl who had a, what are they called?
gerbil?
Emotional support. It was a
Okay.
hamster.
Oh.
Emotional support hamster,
Okay.
and they told her that she couldn't take it on the flight. Which,
Sure.
every airline's different. Every airline has their
Right.
own rules for it. But they told her she couldn't take it on the flight, and so one of the airline employees told her to flush it at the airport.
Goodness, wow.
And she did.
Oh, she did?
She did it.
Oh my goodness, this is
I-
shocking.
I as a flight
How
attendant.
old was the person that
She was 21.
Oh, well,
she
still
was
is-
going home, and so I can see the youngness there, not realizing that you can take a stand.
Yeah, you're
This
right.
is
yeah.
a living
Yeah,
creature.
right.
I
Oh, it's
will be
horrible.
taking it with me. You're gonna have to get me home, and I will keep my hamster. But at the same time, the emotional support side of it, I see a lot of people who abuse that.
For sure. I've
yeah.
definitely seen
I know
some
I'm
dogs
going
that
to
don't-
now.
Well,
Yeah, what's the deal? You
For
can
the
get like
sake
a.
of the flight attendants out there, please don't take advantage of
So what
that.
kind of emotion?
I have a huge idea for airlines. If anyone wants to steal this idea, I'll just put ideas.
Well,
out
I think
there in
they
the
should
world.
just hire you, but please,
that would be great,
please tell
yes.
them what they should
Well,
do.
I would do this myself if I had the millions, maybe tens of millions of dollars to do it. There should be an airline that's just for people with pets. I mean, and
You can charter.
well,
Yeah.
but I mean like
NetJets.
a Southwest for people with
for
pets,
just pets.
for regular, for the regular person that
Yeah.
can't spend, thousands of dollars on an individual flight. It would be so
Gotcha.
huge because then we'd have all these fake support dogs off of our off of our planes.
It's so frustrating. I've had several go in the aisle, and I'm like, this is clearly not
Safe.
an emotional support
Right.
animal because they would be trained.
Right, exactly,
To not use
So
the bathroom in the
obvious.
middle of an airplane. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
definitely frustrating.
But it does speak to customer experience.
Absolutely.
I think that so we've been trained now to expect things sort of on demand and easy and free.
And free, right? And more and more,
and
more and more, right?
And
Yeah.
so I think it's in the future customers that create the best experience, or excuse me, companies that create the best experience for their customers are going to be the ones that win. They really are.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to get less and less tolerant of
Nonsense.
difficulties, nonsense.
Yeah.
So you help a lot of companies go from good to great, or to
That's
get
our
started
goal,
to good.
absolutely, yeah.
So, and I hate it when people ask me this,
Mhm.
but do you have any advice or any lessons or anything that would
Yeah.
help somebody?
Sure, absolutely. And it kind of speaks to what we were just talking about. Focus on your customer, understanding them. And that's an evolution. That's a constant process. You need
Yeah.
to always be looking at, how can we make this a better experience for our customers? How can we make it easier for people to engage with us? I think that's huge. Study them, get to know their habits. We create for our clients and for ourselves even really robust personas, that kind of break down all the pain points, the goals, the values that our customers have, and really study them so that we have a good, true understanding. So it just helps everyone. It helps everyone in an organization. It helps the salespeople knowing, there's a good chance that, if they're a good customer of ours, they're going to have one of these 3 problems. So just going into a sales meeting with that kind of knowledge, that helps you so much, right? Your website, something that we help companies do is design an amazing website because if you think about it, a lot of times, what do you do when you hear about a new company? You're going to
You
Google
check out
it.
the
That's
check
the
out
one
their
thing a
website.
CEO knows how to do is to go pull up somebody's URL.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So
And they think they've really done something.
Yeah. Well, so what, if you think about it, a lot of times that's the very first experience that your potential customer is going to have with your business. So to trust that to some wonky template or some,
Right.
cheap thing, that's very dangerous in my opinion, because you have an opportunity to craft the perfect experience for your ideal customer on your website and to give them all the information they need to flow through there.
We're running out of time. I'm going to walk
Sure.
on you here a little bit. One of the things I was fascinated with on your website is what you call integrated campaigns. You have a minute 13.
Oh boy. Okay. You want me to talk about this?
Yes, please.
Yeah, what I really mean by that, it's kind of a catch-all term, to be honest, and it's really about, for me, when you're talking about telling great stories that are going to attract your customer, you have to go where the customer is. It's their choice. Are your customers on this platform, that platform? Usually they're on multiple, right? So when we look at a campaign, we start with the customer and really figure out what are the channels that are going to work for this brand so that we can reach them and we can tell them this company's story, and so that they can effectively get involved with that brand and become a customer.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, gentlemen. This has been a fascinating conversation. Took a lot of different routes, but we finally got to it, and I really appreciate all that you've had to offer.
Thanks for
You two
having
are
me.
probably gonna
We'll continue
meet
this
up
in
and
discussion.
continue this. Yes,
after
but
the
be
show.
sure to check out cobrt.com. Check out our events. Sign up for our newsletter. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Have a great day.